I think historically, people have always wanted to show that they have been here. They've always wanted to tell their story. You know, if you think cavemen, what did they draw on the walls? They drew themselves chasing deer and hunting and making fires and things like that, because that was their story, that was their life, that was what they did, and that was what they sort of wanted to leave. I create art. I create graffiti, which is art that is written on walls. And I also do what some people I think would consider street art, which is slightly different to graffiti, but putting art on walls. I go by quite a few things, but for this interview, I've always enjoyed art, I've always enjoyed seeing art, I've always enjoyed drawing and doodling and drawing on things. I think I got into it just by seeing a lot of the reoccurring names around me where I grew up and sort of being influenced by them, and that, I'm like, what is that? Ants in your pants kind of people, you know. I really find it hard to sit at home for long periods of time. And yeah, I think, my love of art combined with my love of just needing to get the fuck out, that's what makes graffiti a more compelling art form to me than just sitting and painting on a canvas or something like that. I don't make it my life's goal to go out and cover every single train in graffiti or every single bus window scratched in or anything like that, but I do make it my goal to find the places that people don't see any beauty or any artistic value and put something there that people would find beautiful and interesting. And thus, when I'm doing that, I wouldn't consider myself a vandal, even though I am technically defacing XYZ. Why do I do it? For myself, really. I like it. It's nice to have someone look at something that you've painted and go, oh, how'd you do that? Or that's fucking sick, or oh, I wish I could do that. But that is always trumped by the feeling that you get when you paint something dope and you're looking at it and you're like, fuck yeah, I just did that, you know? So that's what I did, basically. It just makes me happy. Writing is hard to quantify because I think everywhere that I go, I intend to put something up, just the smallest little tag, invisible. It doesn't have to be anything big or massive. My family are overall quite supportive of everything that I do. They just don't like the idea of me doing anything too dangerous. I try not to put myself in harm's way for the reason being I don't want to hurt myself, but also I don't want my family to have to, look in the most terrible scenario and go without having a son or a brother or whoever I am. London's graffiti scene is different in two ways. The style and the way that it's done is influenced by how busy and how much of a surveilled city this is. There are cameras everywhere and there are people everywhere. For us, it differs in the sense that our graffiti style tends to be a lot simpler. London's one of those cities that never really sleeps. And you can see that in the way that the graffiti is done. So it is the same scene that started 50 years ago, it was brought over to the UK via, obviously, America in the 80s. It is still that same scene, but it always changes, it always develops, it always evolves. Even before we had the American style of graffiti in the UK, we had political graffiti and all sorts of street art and stuff. People have always done this. 50 years ago, we were shown this beautiful, colourful, amazing way that it could be done. And people took that and they ran with it and they started to push the limits further and further every single year. And that's why 50 years later, there are, young people like me and people even younger than me, way younger than me, that are, pushing the limits in terms of where they can get to with it and what they can do with it. It's still prevalent because it's an ever-changing culture, an ever-changing art form, and also because it will never stop being important. I think graffiti is important in a society like ours, where there is so much shit everywhere. We are constantly inundated with things, with advertisements, with information, with things to do, things to occupy ourselves with. Weirdly, in today's modern day and age, we have more access to art than historically anybody has ever had in the past. Any one of us can walk into the National Portrait Gallery for free and consume as much art as we want, or go to the Tate Modern or anything like that. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people, the only art that they ever get to really see is filtered through a mobile phone screen. I think graffiti is important because it forces people effectively to look at art, which I think is a good thing. And it forces people to have opinions, which sometimes I think, a lot of the time, people are subdued by things like social media and stuff like that. I think graffiti is something that you can look at that draws you back into sort of the real world. It sort of forces you to look at things and to contemplate things, sort of takes you back to reality. If you choose to look at it. A lot of people don't look at it, to be honest. But in my opinion, that's one of the most important things that graffiti does. It is interesting, isn't it, that no matter through what medium or type of art it's done, people have always wanted to write and leave markings on walls. I think it's an innate desire to show that you were here. I think that we all know that our time on this earth, however frightening that may be, is incredibly limited and not a very long time compared to the sort of history of the earth, how long it's been here and how long it will continue to be here. You can see with this current generation of people, everyone's trying to be famous, everyone's trying to say that they are the biggest thing. It is an instinctual thing. Even for people that say they've never done graffiti or never thought about graffiti, but I guarantee at one point they were a kid and, did their name and their kid girlfriend name in a love heart, or, doodled in their school book or something like that, and wasn't meant to be there, something that was an etching of their personality that was there to say that an actual human was there. I'm not going to say that I want to be the most known graffiti writer, because I don't want to be the most prolific or the most known. I hope to achieve a place for myself in which I can paint as often as I like and make enough money from it to get by. I don't need to be Banksy or anything like that, making millions of pounds just for fucking pissing black paint on a wall. I definitely don't want to die on a set of train tracks. I just want to make art that people see and appreciate and enjoy. I don't think I came into the game trying to inspire anyone or trying to take any crowns or be the king of anything. I just want to have fun. I just want to be a happy guy.